Tell me when you want me to talk. Signal me when you want. Good evening, our friends and viewers. Welcome to the second segment of the Reading Leaders Corner Show. I'm delighted to welcome you to this wonderful episode. And tonight we have so much very diverse insights and lessons for you to learn from the book for the month, The Tipping Points, How Little Things Can Make a Big Difference. Of course, the author of this book is Malcolm Gladwell, a journalist and a writer from Canada. And having with us tonight is a guest reviewer who is also a broadcast journalist, a writer, of course, a public speaker. And so far, she started quite well on Sunday, giving us insights on the work. And tonight, she will be continuing with the conversation we've had so far. Like we always do, we'd like to welcome all the people who have joined us here on the show. I'd like to thank them for joining us. And for those who have stayed very consistent since we started this show in 2021, I'd like to say thank you, a special shout out to you and all the people who have drawn other people to this show. I'd like to also specifically thank the Chancellor, Barrister Morgan Ekandem, for ensuring that this show keeps running over the last few years. I also like to thank the show producers who are also with us here in the studio. I'd like to thank all our friends who have joined us live in the studio. Joydy Joseph has joined us, Emediong is here, and of course Esther and Mr. Excellent Togodo are here to ensure that everything is running smoothly as we should. And of course, I'd like to welcome our very delectable and beautiful guest reviewer for the month, Blessing Dickson. Happy Sunday, Blessing.
Happy Sunday, love day.
What was the choice of this dressing?
Well, I just did something black and white.
Nice. Welcome. Good to see you. So, like we started last Sunday, the conversation started in chapter 1. And this book has 8 chapters. By next Sunday, we'll be doing 2 chapters so that we have the 3 Sundays remaining so we can wrap up the show. So by the end of tonight's show, we finished 2 Sundays. The book for the month, like I've mentioned, The Tipping Points. I think I could show this. The Tipping Points, written by Malcolm Gladwell. And what we do when we start the show like this is to just do a rundown of what we did the previous Sunday before we move straight to the conversation for tonight. So my job here is just to steer the conversation, to bring you into what we've done, to see how you can negotiate your way into, queuing into the conversation, as well as to also ensure that we have a smooth sail in this wonderful episode. I hope that you've invited all the people who are joining us, and I hope that you'll be a connector for tonight, because we are going to deal with the chapter that has the title Connectors, Mavens, and the Salesmen. Of course, my job for this wonderful episode is just going to be very brief as I hand over the bulk of the conversation to Blessing, who will be telling us what we are doing tonight and what we have done the previous Sunday before we proceed to what we are doing tonight. So, Blessing, happy Sunday once again. How are you feeling?
I'm good. And
Did you go to church?
Of course.
How was church?
Pentecost Sunday, we were talking about the wind of the Holy Spirit.
Beautiful. I'm feeling the Holy Spirit in this building. Okay, so let's go on. What happened last Sunday? What we did talk about,
right.
and what are we talking about today?
Last Sunday was just an introduction to the book, and the 3 major parts of the book we'll be looking at. That is the law of the few, stickiness factor, and the power of context. Last week we told you that the law of the few has to do with having a few, no, that's tautology, having people who can carry the message so well and then spread it. Stickiness factor talks about impact, while context, the power of context, talks about the environment where the message is. Sometimes when we as leaders pass the message, we also need to be mindful of our environment. And tonight is decision night. I don't want to say decision day, because we're talking about one of those points, and that is the law of the few. We'll be highlighting 3 persons who make the law of the few very, very interesting, known as connectors, mavens, and salesmen. Connectors are, like the word connection. Mavens are expert, while salesmen do the work of persuasion. If you must be a good leader, an authentic, a transformational leader, you need these people in your team. It's going to be an exciting one, and I can't wait for all we have in store.
Thank you so much, Blessing. I actually cannot wait as well to see all that all the wisdom, all the knowledge, and all the insight you are going to unpack for our guests who are joining us live. I haven't been giving the cues to check the people who have joined us so far, but then I know as time runs, we are going to acknowledge the presence of all the people who have joined us online. But so far, let's just go straight to the conversation for the bulk of the narrative we have, because we have very little time and so much information to share. So, Blessing, let's start with the connectors. Who are there? Why are they relevant? And what do we as leaders need to learn from them?
All right, connectors are basically people who have a wealth of numbers. Why I use the wealth of numbers is they know a lot of people. They are like your go-to person whenever you need a contact. I have a friend that whenever I need a contact of anybody, if she doesn't have it, she has someone who has that contact. So connectors are the people who kind of drive the team due to the strength of their connections. Yes, they know a lot of people, like I said, and they are willing to, connect with these people, to explore with these people, to reach out to these people, and then in turn, it's a win-win relationship. Everybody has, the law of self-preservation. We don't like to move past our comfort zone. But when you are a connector, you move past your comfort zone. Now, you don't make friends with people who are of the same age, tribe, and all of that. You just make friends with people, not exactly as close friends, according to the author, but then you move beyond close friends to having close acquaintances. And these people, on a long run, become very relevant to you.
I don't know. Let's put it in context. I don't know if you've been to the markets before and immediately you just arrived. Someone, a young person from nowhere, maybe male, female, can just come up and they just ask you, "Good afternoon, ma. What do you want? What do you want to buy?" And immediately you mention what you want to buy. They will just take you straight to the shop and say, "Okay, I know where you can get that." And you are taken to the precise location, to the right audience, the right shop, and you just see that everything you wanted is there. And sometimes they will just tell you, this shop, they will sell you this amount of money, this shop will sell this amount of money. The other shop has the most expensive but quality material that you need. This other one does not really have, so I think you should buy from these people. Now, two things will happen is that you realize that most of them do this thing because at the end of the day, they want a tip from you. They want you to be like, "Oh, you've really helped me today. Please manage this 1,000 naira, take this 500 naira." And that's how they are making their means of income, especially in the Nigerian context. But then what I actually brought in there was to let you know that these people know where to get what you want. They know the right sources of your information. They know the right persons who know what you want to get, who have what you want, who have what you need at the moment, and they can help you get them at that point. Those are the connectors we're talking about. We also situated in organizational context. How do they come in? Who are there? What role do they play? Remember during the launch of the Arise agenda in 2023, July 2023, yes, when Pastor Moino just was sworn into the office as the 5-star hotel in Oran, Barrister Morgan recommended me to be part of the sectors. I was at the education sector, and at the repertoire there. And when people were talking, we were brainstorming as a team. The group comprised a lot of professors, educationists, teachers, principals, head of school, commissioner for education, past commissioners for education, and a lot of other stakeholders like that in the education sector. And at the end of all the reviews and all the conversation we had, they got to a point where we had to take executive action. That was what they call it there. And they will ask someone, "Okay, we need someone to order." One of the recommendations was what is currently ongoing in the state, the building of or construction of Arise model schools. That was one of the recommendations. And when they say we need evaluators for this project, one man in the group will just say, "I know someone." When they said, "Okay, they're looking for education experts who would help us procure ICT-based materials for learning, learning aids," the man will just say, "I know someone who can get it." At the end of the day, everybody started calling the man, "I know someone." But the point is, what was the thrust of this conversation was that the man was the connector in that team. He knew everyone who had what that particular group needed at that time. And he was the connector. So in every organization, the conversation would lie between what do we do with this sort of people? The people who tend to know everyone. I also remember during my boss wedding, we were making plans, trying to get some things, and there was one guy in the team. Whenever he shows up, he'll be like, okay, we've not gotten this thing. He was the one with the list. He'll be like, okay, we are supposed to get this amount of drinks. The boss had already paid for it, paid for everything, but all that we needed was to get them. But he was the one who had the list. So he would just be like, have you people got this thing? Say, yes, okay, you will take it. None of us had the that wisdom or knowledge or that reminder we needed to write these things down so that you know what was there or what was not there. And he did not only tick down the things we needed to buy, he also knew the shops that had those things we needed to buy. So he would just be like, okay, Savior, we are going to, he said, okay, enter this vehicle, you go here, when you get there, tell him I sent you. Before you know, we were able to procure and acquire all the things we needed. Those are the connectors you need in an organization. Now the question is, what do they exist for in organization? What are their roles? What do we do as leaders when we have people like that in our team? What do we do with them?
If you have connectors in your team, I like to see them as people who can mobilize the rest of the team. Connectors have, this persuasion. They are very, very good with persuasion and making you just like them. And if you have connectors in your team, the first thing you need is to teach them how to properly use this for the benefit of the team. Most connectors, you cannot tell me I'm a connector and you're leaving my company to go and connect with people outside during work hours. So if you're a connector in my team, I'll streamline your goals or streamline the vision of my company to be in line with yours. And by saying that, I'm going to tell you, okay, you know a lot of persons. This is your monthly target, weekly target. Give you goals that, align with it. And we must also bear in mind that somehow some connectors might, go, what the author says, where we draw the line between, trend, something that is trending, and then something that's actually authentic. Just because you connect with somebody, a connector might not go in depth to see the real character of these people. He can just say, okay, who are you? What do you do? And the person says, I am into real estate. He has not really confirmed if this person is actually into real estate, or just post pictures around buildings and lands and claims he is into real estate. So connectors also need to be guided by transformational and authentic leaders.
Thank you so much. Blessing, they need to be guided. And now when we are talking about delegating roles, most of where the buyouts, where some organization leaders missed out is they don't know when to assign responsibilities. Now, I think I wrote something down. I'm trying to get it so I can share with you. Some of the traits of connectors. They say connectors have charisma, social ease, and instinctive ability to maintain weak ties that prove powerful in spreading information. And weak ties, according to what you shared, is their acquaintances. People will just be like, I don't have to gain anything from these people. But now there's a character that is mentioned in this work, Hocho. Hocho is that person that reminds and takes down every person he meets. If he meets you, he will want to know your birthday, what is special about you. Now, it is not holding this information because you want to use it negatively about you, but he pens down your birthday, and in your birthday, you're going to receive a special gift from him. And so far, he has been doing that, knowing a lot of people. And according to what the author says in this book, he has about 1,600 contacts in his system. Now, the question would be, so when you have someone who has this level of charisma, who can easily connect with other people, what do you do? And what the authors have recommended here, from what I wrote down, say, connectors are individuals with vast social network, bridging diverse groups. They know a lot of people across different spheres, work, hobbies, communities, and have a knack for linking people who wouldn't otherwise meet. Their wide-reaching connections allow them to spread ideas quickly across social boundaries. And we have another example of Paul Revere. Paul Revere was one person, or in this book, is one person who has a lot of contacts, who knows a lot of people, who connects with people across border. He does not even care. If you sit with him, according to what the story is here, mind you, the bulk of the conversation here in this book are stories that draw out this lesson. So when you've been to a place, because someone says something nice about that place, maybe a restaurant, a school, a course, someone just be like, this was wonderful. And you feel like, okay, I have to be there. In fact, let me just ask you, what motivated you to join the More Leadership Academy?
Well, the wealth of experience here, and then the recommendations from people.
You've not been here before, so when you say the wealth of experience, how did you get to know about the wealth of experience?
From the post. I have a couple of friends who have attended the More Leadership Academy, and the posts they make about
their
people,
reviews.
their reviews, yes, recommendations.
Okay, so I made this. There was a post I made on Facebook some time ago. There was this I don't know whether I should call it a restaurant or an hotel in Osawama. There is no signposts. There is nothing to tell you that. In fact, that place looks like a residential area. If you just drive by, you pass the place without knowing that this is actually like, it has a bar, it has a restaurant, it has everything that you can think of. Someone took me there. And when I was inside, I felt like I'm going to be kidnapped because from the gate, everything was like tied and secure. When we got there, I discovered that it was one of the best sit-outs I could ever thought of. When I left that place, I made a post about it. I didn't mention the place because I wasn't promoting them, obviously. But what I was trying to draw the lesson there was that excellence speaks for itself. You don't have to announce yourself that you are good. Once you are good, people will begin views on the food it's eating. People tend to really, really accept what it says because who says this thing matters. So it is him people have known over the years to be testing people's food. He has the taste bud of the nation, let's say it like that. So he eats for the people, he eats for the masses. So when he says this thing is good, the question would be, who is this person that says this thing is good? What is his legacy? What's his pedigree? What has he done so far? So he's consistently reviewing food, has also given him that pride of place that, oh, he's the best person to talk about this thing now. Just the case in point like Hilda Bassi, if we are talking about food and someone mentioned, they say they want to talk about the best chefs in Nigeria, Hilda Bassi may not necessarily be the best chef in terms of what she cooks. It might not be to some people. But because she has done that, obviously, and she has put it out there that she's actually the best by winning the Guinness World Record as the best chef in the world, there is nothing you can do about it. So if she passed recommendation or review, if she sends information about the thing, people would take her seriously than they would take me if I were to recommend a restaurant for people. So the person that says what matters, and how it is said also matters a lot. So let's go to the next category of people.
Yeah, not all connectors. That's where I wanted to come in.
Okay,
not
please.
all connectors actually have that strength to enforce something or to, put their name behind a brand. Not like you said, not every message is believable because of who is saying it. Now that leads us to the next part, and that is mavens. Now a maven is an expert in something, somebody who is exceptionally good. There's this saying, man cannot not communicate in communication whenever we're talking about mass communication, and that came from a professor of mass communication. When a professor tells you that communication is when a man bites a dog, there's every possibility that you take that word because it came from a professor, compared to when a market woman tells you communication is when a dog bites a man. There's a point.
Confused.
There's a point where you just look at the woman and say, "What is this one saying?" So mavens kind of, and the funny link between connectors and mavens is like the story of Paul Rev here. He got the message that saved the people from an impending war from a maven. Maven are people who have put their foot down to study. They know the market. We have market mavens, like the author said. They know the prices of things. They know how it works. So connectors just come to these people, get information, and then spread it. They're not the source. So I like to say mavens are experts. Mavens are sources of ideas. And every connector at one point or the other has a maven.
I think I would just like to read this passage from page 62, second paragraph. It says, the critical thing about mavens, though, is that they aren't passive collectors of information. It isn't just that they are obsessed with how to get the best deal on a can of coffee. What sets them apart is that once they figure out how to get that deal, they want to tell you about it too. A maven is a person who has information on a lot of different products or prices or places. This person likes to initiate discussions with consumers and respond to requests. Like you said, go down. They said, before the last paragraph, say there are more than experts, still on 62, page 62. There are more than experts. An expert says price will, an expert says price will talk about, say, cars because they love cars. But they don't talk about cars because they love you and want to help you with your decision. The market maven will. They are more socially motivated. So it is an altruistic kind of stuff. They are not doing it because they want to get a tip from you. They're not doing it because there's something they tend to get or obtain from you. They're doing it because this is who they are. They just love passing information. In context, you can say that mavens are teachers. That people want to share the knowledge. It is like a burden to them. If people don't know what I carry, it becomes a problem. So they want to share it with you. They want to let you know that this is how it works. This is the person you should also get to meet. Now, when I use the context of those market boys that come to you and tell you what do you want, and they take you to the shop, it is because of their expertise. The difference in this case, which I might not entirely say they are mavens, is because their relationship is transactional. For mavens here, mavens are not transactional people. They don't want to give you something because they want to get something back. They are